everybody. Welcome to Movies by McManus, the podcast where we break down movies, comics, TV, books, whatever kind of media you're into, in the context of who created it and what effect it's trying to have on the world. Today we're going to be breaking down the 2020 film I Care a Lot, directed by J Blakeson. I'm your host, Greg. With me is my brother, Mike, as always.
What's up? You sound like Kermit the Frog.
Thank you.
Coming to you from an undisclosed location, summertime.
It's a nice summertime, just outside. We got the breeze.
This might not be summer anymore by the time this comes out. Probably towards the end of summer.
Yeah, probably. But it's a nice, change of environment that we're going for right now.
And
I think it looks good.
We'll be coming to you from another location in due time.
Yes.
But we are... I think we talked about it on our last show there.
Yeah,
we talked about it. Yeah, we changed locations. We're no longer going to be in the studio that you've come to know the show from and on to new things. But the show's staying the same. So.
Yeah, exactly. And everything
we're
else...
back.
Everything else is going to be staying the same, so don't worry about it. You'll still be getting your breakdowns. Basically, the formula of how we are doing things is not changing.
Right.
All right, so I Care a Lot. J Blakeson, he's not a director I'm all that familiar with, but this was a movie pretty much as soon as I first watched it, I wanted to do it on this channel. I don't know if you're...
That's just TWA Flight 800 above us. Just kidding.
We're getting a few planes in the backyard. You might hear a couple of them in the podcast, but it's all good. All right, so this was a movie that was recommended to me to do on my on the show. A good friend of mine had texted me saying, I just watched this movie, I Care a Lot, and I think you would really like it. I think you should definitely do it on your channel. And I watched it. I loved this movie. I love how, it's not your typical movie that we would do on this podcast.
See, really? I don't know if I agree with that.
We kind of lean away from comedies so much.
I mean, I didn't take this as a comedy.
No?
Not really.
Well,
I mean, to me, it made sense.
It's sillier than we normally do.
I don't know. When I saw this, it made sense that we do it on this show, and it made sense to me that you would be a fan of the show because it's kind of another one of those, be wary of capitalism movies.
Yeah. Well, I did, but it's taking a different approach because a lot of these be wary of capitalism movies, they're from the point of view of the people who are being taken advantage of. If you look at Sorry to Bother You or Parasite,
right,
or one of the other. It's
Sorry to Bother You shows Armie Hammer's character, but he's not a main character.
Yeah. This is from the point of view of the oppressor, not the oppressed.
Right.
And it doesn't it doesn't take the kind of revolutionary angle. It's not so much like Parasite where the end mission, or Sorry to Bother You, is the end mission is we're going to destroy this system of we have to get rid of this. This is kind of more what does morality mean when you've created a system where in order to have any level of success, you have to be amoral. And it's also when you've created a system where you have to be immoral to get ahead, then who are you to judge of how immoral someone can be?
I mean, yeah, it's an interesting thought. And one thing they say early on is just like the idea that, you know, working hard and doing the right thing is a myth that the wealthy created to keep basically the masses docile. And, you know, I don't think you necessarily have to be evil to get ahead. I don't personally believe that. But, there is something to be said about the notion of like, there was a report this week that came out that basically in any major city in America, if you work full time at a minimum wage job, you can't afford rent in like any city.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's something to be said that supports that statement.
Well, this is like Sorry to Bother You. This movie doesn't quite go into the absurd like Sorry to Bother You does, but you do get a sense that this is kind of a heightened reality, where maybe that's not 100% the case in our world, but in the world of the movie, it's not only does cruelty get ahead, that the only way to get ahead is to be cruel. And that the only way to get ahead is what our protagonist, Marla, kind of refers to as rule breaking. Of you have to break the rules to get ahead. And that people can't really judge you for how you decide to break the rule.
I don't ever remember her specifically like saying rule breaking out loud.
Well, yeah, I don't. But you understand like what she means of just like
she has her own little justifications though. Like where it's just like, oh, are you suggesting that we steal? And she's like, no, and maybe we just change its location for safety reasons.
Right.
Like that type of stuff.
Yeah, well, she does. I say this a lot of kind of like, I should say, so the first time I watched this movie, I hated her so much. Like, I just...
Well, naturally.
This main character, like, you just want bad things to happen to her. And
Absolutely.
It makes you, like, root for Peter Dinklage's character, the Russian mafia boss.
Absolutely.
The second time I watched it, I actually liked Marla a bit better. I saw her the second time I watched it as almost like similar to Tony Soprano. Tony Soprano does these horrible things, and he keeps finding ways to justify it to himself. And Marla,
yeah, exactly,
100%, she finds these ways to justify what she's doing by saying, like, look, the hardworking way that like the rich people tell you to get ahead, that's not how it works. You have to be cruel in order to do it. And also she kind of she has these feminist arguments that you can tell like she doesn't really believe, that it's kind of just things she says to justify what she does.
Yeah, that's how like woke culture is.
Yeah, exactly. But
like woke corporatism.
It's woke corporative. It's white feminism is what it is.
Right.
Is that Marla is not a feminist character. She's a white feminist character.
Well, I mean, she's not she's just out for herself.
No,
yeah.
but that's exactly of
Yeah.
when you hear Marla kind of justify what she says, it might seem like she's making feminist talking points.
Right.
But the reality is that Marla is a sociopath, and she has no intentions of uplifting any woman besides herself. She's the only woman she really has any intention of making successful, besides possibly her girlfriend character, who the only reason she wants her girlfriend character to be successful is because they're dated, because they're partners.
Yeah.
So it's more justification of trying to make what you're doing okay, and it's very similar to what Tony Soprano does when he's talking about, what we do is to uplift the Italian people.
Yeah, it's justifications. But, the one thing about this movie as compared to, like, what we've done in the past when it comes to Sorry to Bother You in particular is the one that comes to mind. I know you mentioned Parasite too, but, like, this one is not as far-fetched at all.
No,
Because,
it's not.
Especially at the end how, and spoiler alert, I suppose, but... and it's really interesting how the two sort of characters who are both kind of their own anti-heroes are dueling back and forth, and you're kind of wondering how it's going to go.
Right.
And then it looks like Marla's kind of won, and then they end up partnering, which you kind of have this weird moment where it's like satisfying as a viewer.
Right.
You know, where you're like, oh, wow, you know, it's like this weird feeling I felt where I was like happy that was happening, and then I was like,
it is a weird feeling.
It's an anti-hero. It's the Sopranos thing where you're rooting for the bad guy. Like,
well, it's a dark ending where even though for the protagonist and the antagonist, and I'll talk after I make this point, I'll talk about Peter Dinklage's character a bit, but where you see the protagonist and the antagonist both kind of come to a happy ending for each other, but you know that happy ending for these characters means that so many other people's lives are going to, it's at the expense of everyone else.
Yeah, exactly. And just to like finish the road I was going down is like, that's to me why this movie was actually not that far-fetched, because it's basically just showing how monopolies work. And the you know, psychology behind, you know, how they're going to go about their business, whether it's an Amazon or you know, any of these other conglomerates, and how you have these dark forces. You know, you have the female front woman entrepreneur who's going to be on all the magazine covers, and what's like the darkness behind that. It's like almost they're kind of almost given like Elizabeth Holmes vibes. What was that company?
Was the
blood thing?
Was I don't remember.
The blood testing company. Anyway.
All right, so Peter Dinklage I also love in this movie.
Amazing performance.
His character of the way I explained it in my breakdown is, while Marla is kind of lawful evil, Roman is more like chaotic evil.
Yeah, I don't understand when these young people post these memes that says these things. Explain to the old man, what does that mean?
Lawful evil basically is a character.
Do you know what that means, James? What is it? Lawful evil, chaotic. We got James in the building here.
Lawful evil is basically a character who uses the legal system or uses like already established rules or laws in order to enact cruelty.
Which is even scarier.
And a chaotic evil character is someone who operates outside of the law entirely. In my breakdown, I kind of used Harry Potter as an example because there's a very like clear example of two different antagonists. But lawful evil, basically think of like Julius Hoffman in Trial of Chicago 7. Probably the most basic lawful character ever, of just like, he's not breaking any like any
Which
set
character
rules.
was that?
Julius Hoffman is the judge in the Trial of Chicago 7.
God.
Uses the legal system and uses the strict set of laws in order to enact cruelty. And a chaotic evil character would be more like Tony Soprano, of he operates outside, or like Heath Ledger's the Joker is probably like the most basic, most prime example of like a chaotic evil character, where like he exists outside any sort of moral code, and in fact like the idea of just having a moral code is ridiculous to him.
Yeah, well, there are people like that.
Yes,
that's what's crazy to me. Was watching this was actually going like, there are people like that.
Yeah,
there are corporations that have CEOs, that have founders, that truly like what's going on with the whole Frito-Lay situation this week. There's workers striking on in Frito-Lay factories because all this crazy shit came out about like how they're squeezing their employees to maximize profit, and like they're like docking them points. They have like a point system to where, you know, they take away days off, and like some people have worked like 5 months in a row without a day off, 7 days a week, 12-hour shifts. People are like committing suicide and shit. Like it's fucking wild.
Well, wage theft is the wage theft in America is more
It's an operating system now.
Yes, but more money was stolen from employers by their employees than all other theft. So, including muggings, robberies, home invasions.
It can't even be close.
Yeah.
It can't even be close.
All other theft, wage theft, is higher than all other theft combined.
Yeah.
Which, it goes to the point of
You're
this
talking
movie.
about during the pandemic or in the last X amount of years or...
I know definitely during the pandemic,
Yeah,
probably
I mean,
during the next... I was speaking specifically during the pandemic, but if it was also during, the last X couple of years,
these are where the conspiracy theories come in.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm sorry. Like, you can't... Everyone can't just be painted as a cuckoo.
Yeah, no.
When you look at that and then you go, okay, well, why did we have these extreme lockdowns?
Yeah.
I'm not making no. So you're laughing.
No.
Why
I'm
is
not
that funny?
laughing. I'm not laughing.
No, but I mean, you can't just like throw that away. Where you go like, okay, let's look side by side. Like, here's what happened, and here's the rules that were enforced.
Yeah.
It's even now I'm getting anxious that someone's gonna find a piece of audio and fucking try to cancel me like in 5 years because But that's the world we live in, where it's like just paranoid to even say that out loud. And by the way, I'm still not saying that that's what happened. I'm just saying, like, you look at the wage theft.
I don't think that's a ridiculous thing to say at all.
Right.
Look, if you're saying that part of these lockdowns that weren't kind of designed in order to transfer money from the poor into the pockets of the rich, I mean, that's obviously
ridiculous
that's
not to
what
think
part of it was.
That was at least it's like the Rahm Emanuel quote, which is like never let a tragedy go to waste or something like that.
Yeah.
Which we've talked about, I'm sure.
But also it kind of plays into it plays into this movie because, I mean, look at when wage theft, when employers stealing from their employees is more so than all other theft combined, then working hard and keeping your head down and the grind culture that that all the like wannabe capitalists keep talking about today. That doesn't work, so why shouldn't I just scam old people?
Yeah, it's
if
crazy.
I'm really an immoral person.
How many of the like social media entrepreneur types do you think are just like 100% full of shit?
All of them?
Yeah, I don't know.
Literally
like
all of them?
Gary Vaynerchuk or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I like a lot of what he has to say, to be honest.
I don't know who that is.
But anyway, like the whole... the whole grind culture.
I think it's so ridiculous, and it's kind of just like,
just put your head down, and, But here's the problem: there's some truth to that, right? I'm not saying put your head down and ignore what's around you, but like I'm saying there's some truth to like, you obviously have to put your head down and like grind. Like you don't have to work 12 hours a day at a shitty job that's taking advantage of you.
Yeah.
But you have to be self-motivated.
No, but that kind of grind culture is kind of just like, if you're not willing to be taken advantage of, then like you're not going to make it, and it's just like,
well, that's stupid.
Right, but that's like what they're trying to basically convince people of.
Yeah.
They're trying to convince people of just like, don't unionize. Oh, what, you're too good for minimum wage or whatever. Oh, look at all these people who you had a choice of I could work 40 hours a week and not make my bills, or I can collect unemployment and not pay my bills.
Well, that's what's hilarious.
Yeah. So what's even the point?
The whole like
I'm going to either
porn.
It's exactly.
That's so like sickening. Exactly. I had a friend who's dead now, and he used to post that shit all the time. All the time. And it was just like every Facebook status was just like, it was like, worked 40 hours this week. I wonder what Wednesday through Friday is going to bring. You know,
Yeah.
like, all right, bro, cool. Like,
Yeah.
you're awesome. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
you worked 40 hours between, like, the first 2 days. Like,
Yeah. All right. So back to Peter Dinklage. I do like how they kind of they brought in this kind of Russian mob element to it, which I thought is kind of it's great because like you're talking basically about like crony capitalism is like basically like the theme of this movie. And it's like, all right, well, here's like the most extreme that you're talking about. And Marla thinks that what she's doing is fine because at least like she's operating inside the legal system.
that's her justification.
Exactly, but also like she has said like she said to Roman like if you want to beat me in court,
Exactly.
beat me with the law, don't. And it's just like, well, doesn't that go against your entire philosophy?
Of what?
Of basically just like all these rules are put in place to keep others poor, and it's just like this guy Roman is doing what you're doing, just to the more extreme.
Yeah, I don't know. I think her point about following the rules is that if you just do the right thing all the time, you're never going to get ahead. I think she embraces the bureaucracy because she plays that like a game,
Right.
that she's a chess master at, and that's her hustle.
And that kind of the fact that Roman being in being in the Russian mob and having these dudes who can basically commit violence for him,
Yeah,
that
I have to say
she's basically saying that like it's not fair that he's able to do this and like that he has people to commit violence and kind of he doesn't have to operate within the same legal system that she does, but it's also just like who are you to say that something is unfair,
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like Tony Soprano.
Yeah.
Giving his wife a hard time about the fact that he cheated on his wife.
Yeah.
Which we talked about in our Sopranos episode. But there's this scene where one of Tony's mistresses calls the house.
Yeah.
And she flips out on him, obviously,
Yeah.
and he somehow turns it around on her. It's just justification. But I have to say, like, this movie, for to use something as kind of tried and cooked, an angle as like a mob boss.
Yeah.
This was like pretty fucking original.
Right, I agree.
I
agree.
Like,
I was worried at first
Yeah, exactly.
when I saw, especially when I saw it was Peter Dinklage playing the mob boss. I was worried it was gonna move into like the more goofy angle.
Yeah, right. Like, and analyze this. Or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, exactly. It doesn't really.
No, it was good, man. Peter Dinklage is fucking talented, man.
He's great. You
He's
never
fucking
watched Game of
talented.
Thrones.
No, but I have watched Elf. No, I'm just kidding.
Elf.
He actually
is.
He legitimately is good in Elf.
He is legitimately good in Elf. I mean, Game of Thrones is like his all-time like amazing role,
Yeah.
and then they kind of like got rid of his character. Like he kind of is on the sideline. Yeah, like, well, they didn't get rid of him, but he's on the sideline for like the last couple of seasons for all like the garbage seasons. They're basically saying like because Peter Dinklage's character on Game of Thrones is very similar to Marla, where it's like he's this chess player and he's also willing to be as cruel as possible. And it was kind of like his entire, personality was that he was smart, could outsmart people.
Right.
And they were kind of saying with Game of Thrones, once George R. R. Martin left, he was the main writer, and they were kind of shifting the focus away from like strategy based to more like, all right, well, now it's about ice zombies and dragons, and like it's more fantasy, they didn't know what to do with that character anymore. And that's why they, in the last couple of seasons of Game of Thrones, like Peter Dinklage is still there, but like he's very much on the sidelines. So I like how this movie is kind of like bookended by
That character.
by the character who he's one of Marla's many victims.
Many victims.
One of Marla's very many victims who, like, you understand completely why he's angry.
And if this was in real life, she for sure would be killed.
Oh,
by
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And
if someone did that to, one of our parents, I'd for sure kill them.
Yeah. But, like, it's so aggravating, and this is why I talk about, like, lawful evil characters of why they're so aggravating, is that they're doing something insanely cruel, and the law is on their side.
Exactly.
And in fact...
That's why I said it's scarier.
Yeah, and it's scarier, and in fact, this guy is screaming, and he's so angry, and he's in court, and
the judge is a fucking bump on a log.
And we know he's right. We know that he's right, that, yes, his mother is in a care facility and he's not allowed to see her, and she is being taken advantage of. But because the law is on Marla's side,
Right.
he's the one that's made to be seemed like he's in the wrong.
Exactly.
And you go up... He goes up to her afterwards, and he's screaming at her and, like, calling her a bitch and all that. And you understand that, but also and this is where kind of, like, her white feminism arguments go in, of she's just like, well, you can be angry and you can get aggressive, and I don't have that option
You
because
could be
you're
an
a man.
angry man.
Yes. And it's like, yeah, obviously there are men in real life who, they use their aggressive to kind of dismiss women, but that's not really what's happening here.
Yeah, obviously.
And then in the end, he shoots her.
One of the more satisfying feelings.
You know what? It's so much
I know
it's so much better that he did it rather than, like...
You're right.
I was worried at the end of just, like, is Roman gonna trick her and, like, have her killed?
I would have been cool with that too.
I wouldn't have liked that as much.
No,
I would have. I
way.
liked it better of just like she wasn't really outsmarted. It's just one of these guys just didn't have anything left to lose and didn't care if he also lost too. And it's just like
it reminds me of like.
I mean, how many like victims did she have that she just forgot about?
Well, that's what I'm saying. If it happened in real life, someone would cap her.
Yeah.
Because you can't create that. I'm sorry. And this is what always surprises me. Like when people talk about, to get ahead, you have to be evil. I don't know. How could it be that good to create that many enemies?
Right. Well,
someone is going to fucking cap your ass. Or like or financially cap your, it's like someone... you can't just run around being a schmuck your whole life. I'm sorry. I don't...
Right.
I guess you can, because Jeff Bezos is the richest person in the
no,
world.
exactly. But, I mean, Jeff Bezos, the way...
Rode a cock into space. Why did he make it a cock? Why did he make it a cock, though?
Hold on. It was so weird.
I mean, it was a cock.
No, it was a dick.
I know.
But everybody is making... So the Austin Powers, when in one of the Austin Powers, when Dr. Evil rides the spaceship, and it literally like looks like a shaft with two balls at the end, everybody is making that reference because it's like, he literally looks like he was riding a giant metal dildo.
I mean, that couldn't have been a mistake.
I don't know.
How could it be a mistake? Like, would you really... Could that really be an oversight? Like, we didn't check that it looks like a giant schlong. Like, Wouldn't you?
That's the fucking. That's the vanity of Jeff Bezos that he shot a rocket up so that he could be in a space for 11 minutes, so that he could be on the edge of space for 11 minutes because he wanted to say he would go to space, but didn't actually want to go to space because going to space actually kind of sucks.
I think they're all like really not cool guys. Like Richard Branson, like he like.
Richard Branson looks
I don't
like
know
and
anything
acts
about him.
like a crazy person. I don't know. He's some
But
rich...
but he beat Bezos by like a week.
Yeah.
Like Bezos has been talking about this for a while, and then Branson just was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna jump in that space real quick." Like
Elon Musk has been talking about it for like 20 years now.
See, Elon Musk.
And he got bit by both.
Those guys are not as smart as Elon Musk, though.
I think Elon Musk is a chooch.
Is a what?
A chooch.
What is that?
What do you mean, what's a chooch?
I don't know what that word means.
A chooch?
Like a vagina?
No, a chooch is like it's
I'm thinking of chocha.
A chooch is like an Italian expression, like a Brooklyn Italian expression of just like a chooch is like I think it literally like translates to like a dick, but it's like a fool / asshole / douchebag, kind of like a chooch, like a clown. Like an asshole / clown.
Elon Musk is not smart?
No, I don't think so. I think
What are you basing that on?
I think
I didn't say like...
I think that Elon Musk is a dude who his parents were he's from one of the richest families in South Africa.
Is that true? I didn't know that.
I mean,
I don't care. I don't care about these people. I don't look into them. But I believe you.
He's from one of the richest families in South Africa, and he kind of just he claims to be this inventor, but he hasn't invented anything. PayPal was already successful when Elon Musk bought it. Tesla was already successful when Elon Musk bought it. He was a dude who he already had a lot of money, and he just went on a buying spree. And became a billionaire because, honestly, when you're from one of the richest families in South Africa, you can do that. You can go on a buying spree and become a billionaire.
So you're saying he's not an innovative person, and he hasn't invented a lot of shit?
No, he hasn't invented anything. Nothing he claims to have invented.
What do you mean?
The Tesla?
What about all the cars and shit?
He doesn't invent them.
No?
He didn't. No, he didn't.
He doesn't design or invent those cars?
He doesn't design any of those cars.
What about the SpaceX?
The SpaceX was already a company, and then Elon Musk bought it.
You know all this as facts?
I'm almost positive these are facts.
That's not... No.
All right, SpaceX I'm not sure about. Tesla I know for a fact was already a company. He bought it, and he does not design those cars.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. I'm not saying for a fact. Oh, actually, no. The Tesla thing I know for a fact. All right, where are we going? Russian mafia.
I don't know if that's true. It might be true. We might be spreading misinformation about Elon Musk, or not.
I'm gonna be honest. Like I don't care.
Well, you just said he hasn't done shit.
I don't think he's done shit.
Elon Musk has never done anything.
Fuck him.
And that's it. He's never done anything. He's not smart, and he's never done anything.
No, I think he's a fucking idiot. I think he's the type of person that like business bros think is smart, when really he was he was born into a shitload of wealth.
You might be right. I'm not saying you're wrong. It's the first time hearing about all that.
Yeah. Well,
I know people on Twitter don't like him, but people on Twitter.
I'm not on Twitter.
Yeah.
All right, so I also like this. It's kind of you see where the kind of problem of these guardianships, at least in the movie, is that it's not just quite everybody is corrupt. There are a lot of corrupt people. And then there are people like the judge who are just literally have the wool over their eyes. You know,
is he just dumb or is he in on it somehow?
I think the movie I think in real life, there are judges like that, and in real life, they are in on it.
Oh, absolutely.
I think the movie is trying to suggest of the judge has just been fooled. That's where I see it, that character, and I feel like what the movie is trying to say is just like, with situations like this, is that it's not, the fact is not always that people are all just corrupt. That some of the people are legitimately being conned as well.
Right.
But when you have the doctor and kind of like the the guy who runs the nursing home, who are both in on it, it's kind of like saying of like, Marla, she can't really exist on her own. Of that level of corruption, it can't exist.
Which is true.
Yeah, exactly. It can't exist on its own. People have to be complicit
systems
in the situation.
Are set up like that, which is, it was also really like scary, the thought that like, you know, because you know, we just like went through what we went through with Grandpa. Like, I was kind of thinking like, obviously it wasn't that type of situation, but he was in like multiple care facilities.
Yeah.
And that's one thing, and I think like generally we had really positive experiences with that, generally. I mean,
yes.
But at the same time, like, when you have a loved one in one of those facilities, like, you can't help but think, for instance, like, how are they being treated when we're not here?
Right.
You know, that sort of thing. And it's like, that's a fucking heavy concept, you know?
Yeah, no, exactly. It gets to like, it gets to your fear of just like, one day you're going to get to an age where, or you're going to be in a situation where if you're claiming you're being mistreated, no one's going to believe you.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, also like the fact that towards the beginning of the movie, you have like Marla and the like head of the facility, that dude, Sam Rice, I think, who, like, clearly they're working together, and they're on the phone having a conversation, and Marla and him are just like, yeah, you know, she's just an old lady and this and that. And I'm going like, dude, you're not a spring chicken. Like, that guy Sam Rice was like, I don't know, 60?
Yeah.
What do you think's gonna fucking happen to you, guy?
Right.
Like, I never understand that from the human perspective of like,
yeah,
we're literally,
that's an interesting way of thinking of it.
We're all the same.
Yeah.
So I never understand that. Like, why would you treat a child any differently than you want to be treated? Why would you treat an elderly person? You are both a child and elderly.
Yeah.
You're everything.
Yeah.
You happen to be like 28 years old right now.
Yeah.
But you're also 64 and 12.
Yeah.
Like, you're the same. So it's like you can't treat people like that. You have one life. Like,
oh my god, that would be like the ultimate cosmic justice if that character Sam, like 10, 15 years later,
like, what do you think, you're gonna live forever? Like, dude, you're fucking, you know, I
didn't think of that when I watched it.
7th, 8th inning, dude. Like,
I did like that beginning conversation of with that first conversation that Marla and Sam kind of have over the phone, and he's talking about one of her wards that died, and like at first you think she might legitimately be sad that this woman passed.
I never got that.
And then you realize, like, it very much clicks of just like, oh, I thought we could have taken her from war, you know?
Well, I mean, you know, on a much smaller level than that, I have actually been around situations where I've had like a shitty minimum wage job, and where you are actually around the boss when they receive a call that so-and-so is sick and isn't coming in. Their reaction is not about their well-being. Their reaction is, fuck, blah, 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 blah. Now we gotta, can you do this? Can you do that? Like, and obviously that's them worried about the day and what's gonna get done. But it's just like, oh, you didn't even for a moment think oh, I hope she's okay. It was just, how do we immediately fill her shoes? Which is why, like, you should never fucking feel bad, about taking time off, or if you need to leave a job or whatever, because they will, if you fucking die, they will replace your ass in no time.
No, exactly.
In no time.
Exactly, which is kind of like the point that you brought up of just like the character Sam, or even like the character Marla, like you're gonna get old eventually, like
dude, whether karma's real or not, you better err on the side that it is.
Yeah,
because there's too many,
but it's just like you're considering these people as profit, not as human beings. Like, aren't you worried that one day someone's gonna view you the exact same way? You know?
Yeah, dude.
And I guess that's why. I guess that's why Marla wants that like money so bad, because
also
I see that as like she sees these diamonds that she's kind of basically stolen from Roman's mother. And she keeps saying like, she wants $1 million for them. She keeps saying like, I want real money, of money that I can like make moves with. I think she like understands that like, whatever small amount of wealth she has accumulated, like it's not enough to protect her from whatever's coming.
She's not trying to play. She's trying to play on a different field. Like she's.
But I mean, is there enough money you can make that it kind of protects you from life from that? Maybe not.
I don't know. I think there's a certain.
Maybe yes.
I think there's a certain point where like, it's like your whole thing where you always talk about with, the Wall Street protests. What was it called?
Occupy Wall Street.
Yeah, where it's just like, if you are Bernie Madoff and you fuck with wealthy people, then no price tag is going to protect you.
Exactly.
But if you're rich and you're fucking over poor people, or you're sending like, poor troops over somewhere to die, you'll basically be straight.
I mean, look at who goes to jail for insider trading. Look at Bernie Madoff, who was stealing from rich people.
Exactly.
Jordan Belfort was stealing from rich people. You know,
that's
if
kind
Jordan
of it.
Belfort and Bernie Madoff were, first of all, they did run scams on poor people. Those aren't the ones that they went. Those aren't the scams they went to prison for.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. Rosamund Pike, I love in this movie.
Who's this?
She plays Marla.
Yeah.
She was. Did you see Gone Girl?
No.
Okay. She. The only real like other role I really know her from is Gone Girl, where basically like, she plays another like great, kind of like sociopath, but in a different way.
Well, you just reminded me. Part of the other thing, too, that they reveal about her personality is that obviously her upbringing must have been fucked up, because she mentions, like, her mother comes up, and she, like, at least with the Russian mob, Peter Dinklage character, you see that he still has a relationship and,
right.
has a capacity to love. Like, Marla has no relationship with her mother.
Yeah.
She has, like, her girlfriend, she was my least favorite character by far.
Well, I feel like, all right, so the girlfriend...
It wasn't her fault. It was a fine performance. It was like the least written character.
I feel like the girlfriend character, here's where I kind of see with that.
Also, the wardrobe choices were, like, killing me. Just like, okay, we get it. She's the edgy, like, it was just like, who did... I don't know. It was like trying too hard, in my opinion.
All right, so the girlfriend character...
I'm going to fuck all these people over with my checkered Vans on. Like, all right.
The girlfriend character I kind of see of, like, it's Marla's attempt to kind of, like, be human.
Well,
She's kind of... I feel like she doesn't really care about her girlfriend that much, but she's trying to convince herself that she has the capacity to really care for another person, because if you look at their relationship, Marla's the one making all the decisions. It's not like
that's what I'm saying. She was underwritten. She doesn't do anything.
Right, but I feel like that's kind of like the purpose of just like Marla has this girlfriend because she's trying to convince herself or trying to convince whoever that that she's not a stone cold sociopath, that she does have the ability to show compassion to another person. But then if you look at their relationship, like, it is more business than anything. And it's not like Marla really...
There's one, like real half-baked sex scene.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
But it's not... Like, you never get the sense that Marla really, like, values her girlfriend's opinion. Like, Marla's the one calling all the shots.
Well, she's wearing the pants, for
yeah,
sure.
No,
she wears
exactly.
all the pants everywhere.
All the pants everywhere.
Yeah, she's just got on all the pants. Yeah, I don't know. I thought that character was a little... Like, that was the one, like, Hollywood thing for me. You know, those are always my Achilles heels with movies, is, like, where's the Hollywood, like...
Yeah.
That's
I mean, every,
but I guess
every
they
movie
have to,
has a little Hollywood.
Yeah, no, I know. But even, like, with Peter Dinklage and his mom, like, I found that to be... I mean, that's kind of... That's again, with The Sopranos, just like, okay, the mobster and then the family life. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I get it. I didn't hate it. I just... to me, that was the weakest relationship that they...
Right,
like, I just
right.
didn't... It never clicked. Like, I was always like, what's going on here? Like,
Yeah. Wait, you mean with Marla and the girlfriend,
Yeah.
or with Peter Dinklage and the mom?
Marla and the girlfriend.
Gotcha. That's how I saw it, of just
Yeah.
like she wants to convince herself that she's in this loving relationship, when really it's just like
Another
another
angle.
person to take advantage of, or like another
Yeah.
person that she kind of needs. It's more she needs the girlfriend more than she cares about
I mean,
the girlfriend.
she's like complicit in most of the crimes.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, it's a pretty dope movie. Like,
No, it is dope.
It's like, it's got action. It's got
Yeah.
like, you know, some meaning.
Yeah.
It was a little cringy to me when I was just like, oh, we're getting hit with another fucking, like, what is America really about, man? Like, how many goddamn fucking, like, the American dream is not what it... Like, another one. Like, I feel like who sent out the memo, like, 3 years ago that that's what we're doing?
About...
And by the way,
yeah.
I don't disagree. That's the thing. I don't disagree with the points that are being made.
I
Just
really do feel like that's...
Everyone fucking hits... You get hit over the fucking head. That's how Hollywood works, though, right? I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, oh, that works? Like, let's roll with that.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I mean, I get it. This one I like because it... Fucking Christ.
For what?
Oh, bug.
We're out in nature.
Freaking out.
All right. PETA's gonna fucking sue you.
It's not dead. It's crawling away. Well, yeah, but I like how this one... It's different because I see it of just like... It kind of combines like, that sorry to bother you, of just like, this is America and like capitalism's fucked up and everything. But it's also has a bit of like the Made in America angle of just like Scarface or like Wolf of Wall Street, where it's just like people willing to do terrible things to get ahead because that's what you have to do, and because they're not concerned with morality or what the right thing to do is, because they realize that the right thing to do like is subjective, and it's just like if whatever's going to get you ahead, that's what that's what you have to move towards. I see that as like it's a mix of like Wolf of Wall Street and Sorry to Bother You, and
I think that's accurate.
I kind of like how it's showing it in a different angle, or at least it has like a somewhat different message.
It's a fun movie, first and foremost.
It's all right. This is what I'll say. It's, and I said this in my breakdown of just like, it's the Made in America where you can't ignore the cruelty. In Scarface, he's a drug dealer, but you can you can almost ignore the cruelty of drug dealing in Scarface. You can ignore the cruelty of the Wolf of Wall Street scams because you don't see all the people whose, life savings got taken away by this guy.
Right.
But
right.
Marla is in a business of like, she's literally, she's kidnapped old people.
Yeah.
And she's draining their bank accounts.
Yeah.
The cruelty of that can't be ignored.
Right.
And it's like you have this idea of like you have to be amoral to get ahead. Well, that's easy to say when you don't properly define what being immoral is. Is it being a Roman and going all the way to the dark side, and you're a drug dealer and a jewel thief and like a human trafficker, basically? Because they say one of like
in the beginning,
you basically see that he's bringing these young girls in, who are carrying the drugs in for them, and some of them die in the process.
Yeah,
and. Roman's an interesting character too, because he's the more like classic gangster.
Yeah.
But also you see of like he's doing what he's doing. At least his like vendetta against Marla is one justified and also like righteous. I mean, he's trying to free his mother from a woman who has kidnapped her.
That's why you end up rooting for him.
And you end up rooting for him. And while I feel like Roman, while he's like the more, he's probably the worst of the two characters. Arguably.
I guess, yeah. I mean, he's more violent.
But he's definitely the more likable.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
He's definitely the more likable. And I think that goes to two things of he's the more classic gangster of, and their crimes are usually pretty easy to ignore. Don Corleone,
especially if you're a civilian.
Yes,
and you're not involved in these
Tony
things.
Montana and Tony Soprano. Their crimes are easier to ignore
because they don't affect you.
Yeah,
I mean, they maybe do peripherally, but
and two, because he's chaotic evil, not lawful evil. Exactly. He operates completely outside the law, and he's not using the legal system, the system designed to protect people, to enact cruelty on them.
Right.
And I feel like for those two reasons is why he's, technically, if this was real life, he might be the more evil of the two characters, but he's also the more likable of the two characters.
Well said. Let's wrap this puppy up.
All right. So, I Care a Lot. It's on Netflix. J Blakeson directed it. We didn't really talk about the director just because, like, I don't know. I mean, I like him.
What else has he done?
Well, that's the thing. I'm not all that familiar with his work. I like this movie. He's kind of like he's directed a lot of television. Right. This isn't his debut. He's been around for a while. It's just I can't really latch on to like a particular theme of.
Well, this was good.
But yeah, it's good. And I'm excited to see what he does next. All right, I Care a Lot. It's on Netflix. J Blakeson. Peter Dinklage is awesome, and Rosamund Pike is amazing. That's another point that I was gonna bring up is that Rosamund Pike in Gone Girl, she plays like another sociopath, but in a very different level because like Marla's kind of emotion has been taken out of it, and if you've ever watched Gone Girl, I mean, it's kind of all about emotion. And it's interesting that she can play two kind of sociopaths, but like from very opposite ends of the spectrum.
Right.
Because they are two very different characters. I think that's great. The Rosamund Pike in Gone Girl is more chaotic evil, I should say. All right. So this has been Movies by McManus. If you like this, you could check out our YouTube channel where I kind of do 10-minute breakdowns of like each of our clips, each of our, movies that we're talking about each week. You can also see the video format of this podcast and also clips from our older podcast that we post every couple of days. Check us out on social media, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
At Movies by McManus.
At Movies by McManus.
The moon is orange right now.
We'll be outside for a bit. The moon looks great. Damn.
Yeah.
We'll be outside for a little bit.
Yeah. We'll be outside.
Nice little
while we figure out our
change of scenery.
While we figure out our new.
And we're about to post something on our Instagram. What's up?
Outside. Episode coming to you from the outdoors.
From the great wilderness. Not really.
And the moon is orange.
You're not going to be able to see it.
I got it.
Oh,
man.
you can see it on that.
I got it.
If you're watching this, watch our Instagram story from like 2 months before, and you'll see that the moon is orange.
Thanks. Yeah, because that's how. This is great. This is great television.
All right.
Where were we? Yeah. Thanks for hanging out with us. Change the location, but we're gonna figure out the next location, and
that's right.
Keep watching. Until then, we'll see you.
We'll see you, and have a good night.